Have you ever had a time, no matter how hard you try, how hard you work, things just don't go the way you planned, or you have no control over the situation no matter how hard you want it to be under your control, and you just go, well, I guess it is what it is. I have two memories of that happened to me. Once was when I was at St. Jude in Grand Rapids, and I drove in what I thought was an hour early to a wedding, to play a wedding. And I had gotten to my office, and at St. Jude, the music office is in the basement. So I was all the way downstairs, and I walked up the spiral staircase with my music binder, opened the door on the side of the church, and much to my surprise, there was an entire congregation of people sitting there, all looking at me. Apparently, they had moved the wedding up by an hour and failed to tell me or the priest. You can imagine that it wasn't really starting on time at that point. So I quickly and very calmly, and not awkward at all, walked across the church without looking at anyone, took the piano cover off the piano, opened up the piano, went back into the sacristy, talked to Father Tom and said, "Hey, what's going on?" He said, "I guess they moved the wedding up an hour. You ready to go?" And I said, "Nope." So I walked past him, and I walked downstairs. Well, I ran, I didn't walk. I ran downstairs, grabbed a bunch of my stuff, came up, and I just threw everything together. I started playing the piano, and in 20 minutes, we started the wedding. Probably the most uncomfortable and awkward wedding I've ever had in my life. Not exactly my ideal situation, but it was out of my control. The other time was when I was at St. Michael the Archangel in Findlay, Ohio, and at the very beginning, when we had just found out that Elizabeth was pregnant with Ella, we had found out that her due date was right around the time for First Communion at St. Michael the Archangel. It was a week before First Communion. Her due date was about 2 days around First Communion. Now, just like here at St. Gerard, First Communion at St. Michael's is a very, very big deal. And their church seats about 2,500 people, and every single solitary pew is always full. And I had joked with my associate music director from the day one about how I'm going to have Ella come a week early so that I don't have to play First Communion and deal with that. And that was the joke, and she kind of brushed me off for a long time. Well, lo and behold, Elizabeth went into labor, the day before First Communion. So I just calmly picked up the phone and called Melissa and said, "Melissa, it's happening." And then I hung up. And she took First Communion, and everything was great. But again, one of those situations that you're just like, no matter how hard you plan, how hard you try, it just kind of goes to show that God's in control, and we're not.